So the Browns just finished up their draft. I'm not going to review the entire draft. I'm just going to go over the first two rounds because I feel that those were the two most important. I will write a post about rounds 3 through 7. But there's so many picks there, so many guys that never really even heard of that it's a little bit too hard to do a video on. A little bit too much research involved there. So I'll write a post. It's going to be a lot easier, but no video for that. But for the first two picks, or for the first two rounds, rather, at number 3, Trent Richardson. I like the pick. I don't love it. I would love it if they could have got him at 4 and didn't have to give up 3 other picks, a 4th, a 5th, and a 7th. But you know what? I do believe that Tampa was going to jump the Browns and take Richardson. The fact that as soon as the Browns made the move and grabbed Richardson, Tampa trading back and ultimately picking Doug Martin out of Boise State, I felt that they would have jumped them. The Browns may have paid a little bit more than Tampa may have been offering. They may have gotten played a little bit there, but you know what? Richardson was the guy they wanted. They weren't playing games. They went up and got him, and you have to like that about the Browns, that they weren't willing to let them lose their guy again. Like what happened with RG3. So with that pick, Richardson, he can do it all. He fits this offense in that he can catch balls out of the backfield. He's a great pass blocker, and I think that's the one thing that really stood out to the Browns, even more so than his pass catching ability, his ability to run with speed and strength, to hit a hole and break away, or to run somebody over. But his pass blocking ability, he's one of the strongest running backs to come out in quite a long time. And when he put the Browns running back coach on his ass at his pro day workout during his pass blocking drills, I think that really sent a message to the Browns that this was a kid that they needed to look at. He was going to be the best available talent where they were picking, and they needed to get him. No matter, even if it meant giving up 3 later round picks, they had to move up to get him. And with that said, I think he's going to be able to he's going to immediately improve this offense. Browns running game last year with Peyton Hillis and how lacking it was, Ontario Hardesty, Clayton, and Obaniah. Richardson immediately brings that factor. He brings the level of a presence of an Adrian Peterson type back. He brings that. He brings the fear that an Adrian Peterson type running back brings to a defense. You have to worry about him. Even more so than people said you had to worry about Peyton Hillis. You had to game plan for Peyton Hillis. You have to game plan even more so for a guy like Trent Richardson because he can do so much. And he's going to provide a lot of help to the quarterback position by being able to run the ball. He's going to be able to hit holes, move the chains, and get into the end zone for the Browns this year. And so then moving on, 22, Brandon Weeden. I don't love the pick. Again, I like the pick. I don't love it. Let's be clear, his age is not a factor of why I don't like it. There are a lot of very good quarterbacks that did not get to start in the NFL until they were 28, 29 years old. Kurt Warner being the best example. I'm not comparing Weeden to Kurt Warner, but the age factor is the comparison there. But Weeden, I was a Colt McCoy fan. I wanted to see what he could do with weapons. So I wasn't necessarily thinking the Browns needed to draft a quarterback in the first round. If they would have gone with somebody in the later rounds, you say, okay, then you're just pulling the Colt McCoy thing again. But I wanted to see what Colt McCoy could do. But with that being said, the Browns felt they needed to improve, felt Weeden would be an immediate improvement over Colt McCoy. And you know what? They weren't going to wait to see if he would be there in the second round. They obviously felt that somebody might be there and take him. They had Weeden ranked 13th on their board, according to some reports. So, for them, they went with the guy that they wanted. They weren't going to let anybody else take him. Again, it's kind of like the Richardson thing. Don't play games. Don't think, oh well, maybe we can take this guy here and he'll still be there and we can get him that way. If that's your guy, take him. And I said there were three reasons. Obviously, one being I was a McCoy fan. Two, as soon as the Browns picked him, Mel Kiper and John Gruden called him a winner, and that's all we've heard about McCoy. And that's always the butt of the jokes. He was a winner in college, and he hasn't really done anything in the NFL so far. So them calling him a winner, it just kind of it just kind of brought back the memories of Colt being called a winner, and then the jokes that being a winner in college doesn't translate to winning in the NFL. And then the other thing was that Skip Bayless tweeted that he loves the pick and that Brandon Weeden is going to be maybe the best quarterback out of this draft class, but definitely better than Tannehill and RG3 and stuff like that. I disagree with just about everything Skip Bayless says. I think he's crazy, to be brutally honest. He loves Tim Tebow, I mean, Tebow's a good player. You can't blame him for that, but he's not. Skip Bayless takes him to a whole nother level, makes him seem like the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, and I feel like he's going to kind of start doing that with Brandon Weeden, and then just it seems like every time Skip Bayless is on the side of something, there's something wrong with it. Like he loves Tim Tebow, but I mean, obviously, there's huge criticism of Tim Tebow's quarterbacking ability. So it just makes me wonder what's wrong with Weeden that Skip Bayless loves him and is going to be on his bandwagon. I'm hoping it's the age thing, which we all already know about, and obviously the Browns don't care. I don't care. Like I said, but Skip Bayless being a supporter, not a big fan of that. But then second round pick, Mitchell Schwartz, offensive tackle out of Cal. I love the pick, not necessarily the name associated with the pick, Mitchell Schwartz, but the position. Schwartz, I hadn't really heard anything about him. He played 2 years with Alex Mack at Cal on the same offensive line. He's played both sides of the line, left tackle and right tackle. He's going to be the Browns' starting right tackle. We can only assume. But like I said, not necessarily the name, but the position. You just drafted your quarterback and a running back. The biggest hole on the Browns' offensive line last year was right tackle. Tony Pashos was horrible. I played 2 years of high school football, defensive tackle. Made 2 tackles the entire freshman season. I could get around Tony Pashos. No doubt in my mind. So, you just drafted your quarterback and your running back. You got to have somebody there to protect them. You got to have somebody there to open holes for Richardson. But if Pashos is there, there's guys coming off the edge. It doesn't matter how good of a runner Trent Richardson is, how good of pocket presence, how great of an arm, any of that stuff that Weeden has. If there's a guy running free off the outside, they're not going to be effective. They're going to get crushed. So to take a right tackle in that position, I thought that was the way to go. More so than I think the majority of people wanted a wide receiver at that position. A lot of people wanted Stephen Hill there. I think to pick a right tackle there, like I said, it fills not only the need of the right tackle position, but it affects 2 different things. Even if you get the receiver, but you have Tony Pashos playing right tackle, it doesn't matter if Hill can get open. Weeden's not going to have the time to throw him the ball. He's going to be on his ass before he can ever get rid of the ball. So, and then same thing for Richardson. It doesn't matter if Richardson can hit a hole. If the left side of the line's open in a hole, that guy coming off the backside a lot of times is still going to be able to get there and catch him from behind and keep him to a 3 or 4 yard gain when it could have been a 7, 8 yard gain for a first down. And I think the fact that it benefits both aspects of the offense, the run and the pass, is what makes that pick that much more important. That position that much more important in that pick than, say, a wide receiver did. And I also think at that point, even though Mitchell wasn't the most highly rated right tackle, even on the board left by the experts, he was the guy that the Browns felt best about. They had him obviously rated higher than any of the receivers. Otherwise, there's no doubt they would have taken a receiver in my mind. The receiver draft class was much deeper than the tackle draft class, in my opinion. And to get, even if Schwartz wasn't one of the top rated offensive tackles by the experts, they aren't in the interviews. They don't see the private workouts that the teams do. The experts, Kuiper, McShay, you have to respect them for all the knowledge that they have about the game, about all the different prospects, all the different players. They know pretty much everything about these kids. But they don't know what the teams necessarily are thinking. When they do their projections, when they do their mock drafts, after the top 10 picks, it's really a crapshoot for the rest of the draft. And you can see that with the way teams are picking guys that they have rated in the 3rd round in the middle of the 1st. Picking guys they have rated in the 7th round and in the 3rd. And so for fans to complain about this pick, saying that Mitchell Schwartz, he wasn't even the best tackle available, they needed a receiver, the receivers were a lot better than him, they could have got a tackle later. The Browns had him rated, he was the best player on the Browns board at that time. And I strongly believe that because they picked him. The way they've drafted so far is they were picking the best guy available on their board. Richardson, Weeden were the 2 best available on their board when they picked those guys. He was the best available player on their board at a position that they needed. And for me, I would give the Browns first 2 round scores an A. They filled the need at running back with the best running back available in this class, and probably one of the best running backs to come out of college in a long time, since probably Adrian Peterson. They filled the need at quarterback. If you believe there was a need at quarterback, I think Weeden's going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. And then they filled a huge need at right tackle. I think right tackle might have been the biggest need that they had on this team because Tony Pashos was so bad. And they filled all 3 of those needs with 3 players they obviously wanted, liked, had highly rated. They didn't play games about who they were going to pick. They didn't wait to see if guys were going to fall to them. They went and got their guys. And for that, you have to give the Browns credit, and you have to give them a fair score based on the players that they got and what they mean to this team and the needs that they had. And for that, I don't think there's any way you can give them anything less than a B, even if you don't like the pick of Schwartz or the pick of Weeden. For me, I do like those picks, and that's why I'm giving them an